Hey friends, welcome back to my channel Organized with Joy, and welcome to another Thoughtful Thursday video. And before I get into it, I just wanted to talk about my makeup. Okay, so I use Tarte Loose Powder for, I guess, foundation, but Ulta was no longer carrying that product, and so I decided to go with that Amazon Clay like liquid foundation, and I chose the exact same color that works for me with the loose powder in that liquid foundation, and I feel like this is too light for me. So that is a little side note. Hopefully it's not distracting. Hopefully I don't look like one of those women from the 1800s or something like that where they did the white face thing. I'll insert a picture. But anyway, moving on to the topic at hand. Hopefully that will be a little icebreaker because the topic is definitely a heavy topic for me personally, but it's something that I've really been wanting to talk about, and that is worry. It is a huge topic. I probably could do multiple videos on this. And actually, I've probably touched on this idea before in other videos. I can't exactly remember, but I'm sure that I have touched on it. Now, before I get into it, I do want to say that everything that I share with regards to this topic of worry is maybe framed by my faith. I am a Christian, and so a lot of what I believe about worry is framed by everything that I learned in the Bible. So if that doesn't resonate with you, I'm sorry. I hope that there are pieces to this talk that can resonate with you. If that piece of faith and a Christian faith background doesn't resonate with you, I hope that something from this video will be inspiring or encouraging to you. So one of the things I wanted to talk about is worry and anxiety. They're kind of like cousins or maybe sisters. They kind of go hand in hand. And I think I've shared on my channel before about my anxiety. I have struggled with anxiety for quite a long time. I pretty much don't remember a time in life where I didn't have anxiety, but it came to a head in my adulthood. And when I was in my mid-30s, I was actually diagnosed with generalized anxiety disorder. And I was on medication for a short period of time, and it really wasn't helping me. So I ended up seeing a holistic doctor on the recommendation of a friend of mine, and she had me change my diet and go on to different supplements. There was a lot of vitamins and minerals that my body was lacking that could have also caused my anxiety, and so she put me on this regimen, and ever since I've been on this diet and following this regimen of supplements, I have definitely been able to manage my anxiety. It's not that it is completely gone, but I am able to manage it. So like I said, anxiety and worry kind of go hand in hand. A lot of anxiety is caused by worry. We worry and ruminate about things, either things from the past or things that might happen. More often, it's things that might happen in the future, and we are worried about that. And I feel like this is such an unhealthy thing. It causes so much stress on our body. And honestly, I think stress on your body is one of the #1 causes of so many other diseases that are diagnosed in America today. Stress definitely takes a toll on your physical body, and so we have to find ways to manage our stress and manage our worry if that is what's causing us stress. So for me, the primary way that I manage my worry is through prayer. When I feel worried and I know consciously that I'm worrying, I stop what I'm doing and I start praying about that thing that I'm worried about. And this is really the only way that I personally have found to really release that worry and let go of it. I truly believe that God is a sovereign God and He is in control of our lives. That doesn't mean that we don't have autonomy. We certainly have autonomy, but I believe that He does have our lives in His hands, and that He can work with whatever's going on in our lives, and He can make something good out of whatever's going on. So recently over on my Instagram page, I have been making stories talking about just how my heart has been heavy, how I have just had a lot on my mind, and I've had just a lot of emotions to deal with. And I just wanted to share a little bit about what's been going on in my life. I try to protect my children. I don't want to overshare here on my channel or over on Instagram, but there are a couple of things that I wanted to share in today's video that kind of relate to this idea of worry and how I handle it. So one of the things I did talk a little bit about my son transitioning, my youngest son transitioning to a new school this year. And his story is that when he was a freshman in high school, he is now a senior. When he was a freshman in high school, the fall semester, he got very ill, and the doctors didn't know what was going on with him, or I guess I should say his doctor, his pediatrician. And he went to see him several times before he finally referred him to a specialist. But what happened by then is he had missed a ton of school that semester. And after talking with the academic advisor at his school, we chose to withdraw him and to do homeschool. And so for the following 2 years, we did homeschool, and it was an online school. And it was definitely very challenging, and we ended up deciding to re-enroll him into his local high school. But by that time, he was already a semester behind because of his freshman year, but we enrolled him in his high school, and the academic advisor, and then they also have a completion specialist, worked with us to get him in the proper classes at that time. And it worked kind of well as a good transition with COVID last year. We had the option to do virtual schooling, and we did that through our local high school. But this year he did have to go back in person, and because he missed some credits in order to get back to where he needs to be for his senior year, he's going to a high school through the school district that is a credit recovery high school. And so this is a huge change for us as a family. We've never experienced this high school, and it's a 20-minute drive away from our house, so we have that added complication. And currently I am taking him to and from school. He will eventually drive there, but that is what we're doing for now. So all this to say, this is a big change, and I am used to having him home with me. He's been home with me essentially for 3 years now. And so it is hard letting him, go off to school and be in school all day, every day. It is a huge transition for us. And I forgot about that worry of my kid not being where I can talk to him and see him every day. Now he's away from me, and I have that worry. And then I did mention over on my Instagram stories over this past weekend, I moved my middle son back to college, moved him into his apartment. And it's always such a bittersweet experience moving your child back to college. I do have a daughter, an older daughter, who has already been through college, and so I went through that experience already, but it's always difficult no matter what number of kid it is in your lineup, no matter what year they are in college, it's always really hard to make that transition of them no longer being a part of your family dynamic. So that was really another difficult or challenging thing going on in my life, where it was change and transition. But yesterday, it was the first day without him here, and that is always hard too. I say that it's easier to just hug him and say goodbye in the moment, but it's when you get back home and you're into your routines where he used to be a part of that and is no longer a part of that, that's when it really sinks in that, oh, he's back at college. But adding on top of that, I decided I feel comfortable enough sharing this. Last week, one of his friends from high school passed away in a car accident, and it gave just that extra layer of worry and fear, sending my 20-year-old out into the world, knowing that one of his friends, who was the same age, was out in the world and didn't come back home. And it just hit really close, and this time it was just harder to not worry. And he is my very responsible kid. He definitely can fend for himself and take care of himself well, but it's always that mama feeling, like part of your heart is just out there in the world. And like I said, it just added an extra layer of worry having this experience, with his friend last week. And so these are just a couple of stories of things that are burdening me right now, that are causing worry and causing stress. But like I mentioned, all I can do is pray for my sons, and trust that God knows what's best for me and God knows what's best for my sons. And it can be hard sometimes. If you don't pray, then maybe when you are feeling that worry, you can stop and take some deep breaths. Maybe you can walk around your block, do something that will get your mind off of the thing that you're worried about. I think with prayer, it's kind of an acknowledgement that I'm not in control. And that's really hard for me. I am a control freak. I like order. I don't do well. I don't thrive in chaos. And so if I have things under control, I feel calm, and I feel like I can handle things. But for me, praying is releasing that control. So if you don't pray, maybe there's some other way that you can learn to release that control, because we aren't in control. Call it God, call it fate, whatever you believe is in control. But I promise you, you're not in control. There's nothing we can do. There's no amount of effort that we can exert to control our circumstances, to protect our kids. So for me, it brings me comfort to know that God is in control of my life. Well, I know that this video was a heavy one, and I hope that it encouraged you in some way or inspired you in some way. I always love hearing from you down in the comments. Let me know if you struggle with anxiety, if you struggle with worry. And like I mentioned in the past, I can't remember if it was last week or the week before, if there are things that you would like me to pray for you about, I will definitely pray for you. I have been on my knees a lot lately, so please let me know how I can be praying for you. But I so appreciate you watching this video. I thank you for taking the time out of your day for watching any of my videos that you watch. I truly appreciate each and every one of you. Thanks, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.